Is this working? Yes. Hi, everyone. I hope you are doing well. Welcome to WIN Forum 2020. I am Catherine Barba. I am the founder of the WIN Forum, and I'm very excited to be with you for a whole week from Monday to Friday this week to celebrate diversity in founders, funders, and leaders. So today we are talking specifically about confidence, because if you want to achieve great things, if you want to be a change maker, of course, you have to grow and build your confidence. So to talk about this, who else better than Kelly Hoey and Jill Nelson to join me on this very specific topic. So let me introduce you very briefly to Kelly. Hi. And to Jill. Hi. I'm so happy, guys. Yeah, I have a confession to make, I wanted to say as an introduction that you guys played a very important role in my life here in the United States. And it's true, I mean it, because I'm very grateful for, your mindset. You have taught me something. It's your mindset, your great energy. And if I've learned with you that if I want to achieve something, I just have to show up, speak up, and just do it. So thank you for this entrepreneurial mindset that you share. I hope every one of you, while listening to Kelly and Jill, will feel the same. So now it's to you, Kelly. The floor is now yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you. And thank you for those incredibly kind words. Wow, wow, wow. What a way to start this. I should have had some Kleenex nearby. Yes, so I'm Kelly Hoey, author of Build Your Dream Network, but I really want to hear Jill's story again, since I got to prepare for this conversation and hear all about Jill, from being, I want to say, in some ways fearless, but there was fear in there, a founder, and now turning to VC. But Jill, before we talk about Ruby and your kind of the confidence in action part of our conversation, I want to talk about your, let's go way back, your origin story.
Okay.
Where did that blossom for you?
Oh, yeah. Well, hello, everyone. And thank you, too, for that really lovely introduction, Catherine. And Kelly, it's also just a treat to be back here with you and all of the wonderful people from WIN Forum. Yeah, confidence is something that, when I look back at some of the things that happened in childhood, and you think like, oh, it just wasn't fair. Everyone else got to do this one thing, but I had to do this other thing. One of the things that comes to mind is something that my mom made me do. So my mom, who was an artist, she did not allow her children to have coloring books. She was completely offended by the idea that we would have to draw or color inside of somebody else's lines and to follow their instructions. So instead, we were given, endless reams of paper and every imaginable color of marker and finger paint and paint you can imagine. And it was really left to us to take a blank sheet of paper and make what we have now. I look back on that today and I go, I wonder if that, helped shape my view on how to go about life.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of, I reflect on that, and I'm so glad you shared that story, because when you shared that, when we first talked, I was like, oh my God, that was not my life experience. I was very much told to stay within the lines. I was told to color within the lines. And being a Virgo, I mean, we had perfectionists at coloring within the lines when we're told to color within the lines. But, I hear that so often, I want to say, in founder stories, this sort of unconditional belief at an early stage that someone has in you.
That's right. And I think, and it's interesting that both of us are here and we both had very different styles of how to follow or not follow rules. And I did have a really pretty tumultuous upbringing. In addition to my mom being this wonderful artist and wonderful parent, she also suffered from schizophrenia. So there was a lot of chaos and things to traverse. And I look back on that, and I think that has also, helped me be able to navigate stormy waters or be okay in the unknown. But I think underneath of that, there was always people that not only believed in you, but felt highly of you and had your back. And I think that's a really, really important piece of the puzzle to go forward and, achieve your dreams.
Yeah. No, and that part of like someone having your back and that sort of belief in you. And I was thinking about my own sort of confidence story. Well, it is not grounded in childhood. And, so for people watching this thinking, oh my God, I didn't have Jill's imaginative, mother, my entrepreneur dreams are doomed. For me, it was later. It was when Janet Hansen, the founder of 85 Broads, when she had that unconditional belief in me when I was this active member of that organization, that opened the doors and made me see a bigger vision of who and what I could be. So, for those who are thinking, oh my God, I didn't have that childhood, I didn't have that unconditional belief, it might come later, and we all have our own journeys and all the rest of it. Okay, the next part of your story, I want you to jump to. Talk through the journey and I want to say where you found the confidence or didn't find the confidence, as the case may be, for founding Ruby. And for people who don't know what, the origin of Ruby, talk about that.
Great. And perhaps I should let everyone know, for those of you that don't, Ruby is a business that I started in 2003 from an idea that was actually a different idea, but it grew into something really, really special, a community of 600 professionals that are there helping small business across the country make meaningful connections to help their business grow and to help their customers feel special. And it's a live receptionist platform, and today it's also a live chat platform, amongst other things. When I started Ruby, it was a completely different idea, and I was very, very naive. And I think sometimes naivety and confidence go hand in hand. But the idea was to actually start something that was kind of like an old-fashioned WeWork. But I had no money and I had no business experience, so I couldn't find a landlord willing to make a bet on me and build out an entire floor of Class A office space. So really just sort of what could I do with what I had? But I did end up getting an SBA loan, and I went into it not knowing that most people with no collateral would get a loan, without really thinking about that most businesses fail. Later on, experiencing sort of doubt from many angles of what are you doing? You have no experience. Who are you? You're this relatively young person. And I think, thinking about confidence in this way of like, whether you have a voice in your head that's telling you you're wonderful, or whether you have a voice in your head that's telling you you're not wonderful or you can't do something, is to not let anyone else define your own narrative. And when you come into obstacles, you can be shocked and you can be insulted that someone might doubt you, and you can work through them. And they are real, and sometimes doubts are things worth looking at to ensure your success, that they might be actually well-meaning people who are pointing out a flaw in your business plan. But sometimes they're just doubters. And so I think confidence is really about having control of your own narrative, and being confident as you're going through, and not expecting somebody to reject you out of hand.
Yeah. Going in with that sense of doom or rejection. But, I wanted to dive in just a second, because when you first told this story, I was like, oh my God. When you went in for that SBA loan, you were like, well, of course they're going to give me a loan. When you said you had no collateral, as you said, you had a second mortgage, you'd used your retirement savings. So this wasn't like, oh, they're going to give me a loan and I do have some assets, but I'm not going to pledge them. You pledged it all on this idea. Talk about that going all in and that aspect.
Yeah. And, I think that thinking about, so yes, I did. And I don't know if that was confidence or naivete at the time. But yes, I was like, I had read this bank had done this great article, a lot of PR on how they were the best SBA lender. So I just went there and like, well, you're the best SBA lender. I will be choosing you to give me my SBA loan, was really how that went, and probably frightened the poor young loan officer. And so, but going all in and really putting it all on the line, I never put the things that I really care about on the line. For sure, I put financial future on the line, but I was young, and I was really interested in learning about what it is was possible and what it is could be proven or not proven. And I think I have also been gifted with, now there are many things that I'm scared about, but failures, like tangible failures of losing money or having an idea not do well, that is not something that really scares me. I think this part of growing up in chaos allows me to have ups and downs of that nature. I think my relationships with human beings are a little bit more protective about them, but certainly putting failure of a business on the line was nothing compared to once Ruby got big and we had hundreds of employees, and then every single move wasn't just about you or your family, it's about everybody.
Yeah. Which is a great segue for what I want to talk about next. You really built Ruby with giving confidence and in the sense of trusting the people who work for you. So talk about how you did that, how and why you place such trust in your employees to make the right decisions vis-a-vis the customers, and what the impact of that was on your business.
Yeah, and I love this question, and it can be, there's a philosophy at Ruby about our leadership, which is around incent, inspire, empower, which I can get into, but I also have to acknowledge that the journey of trusting others and inspiring confidence in others, it is a journey. It was not something I think that came naturally to me. When you think about starting a business and you think about being your baby and you have a perfect image of how it's supposed to be and you want to control every single solitary aspect of it, but without the others, it would not be what it is today. And today, Ruby is something that even in my wildest imagination, not just in scope and size, but in culture and how it looks and how it feels and the way the community comes together, everything about it, never ever, had ever existed in my head. It was really the impact of everybody coming to the table and also bringing it. And I think the way that it opened, first of all, if you're growing your business, you have no choice. You absolutely will be the bottleneck if you don't give up control. But I also see that once you do, you get that little negative, okay, I'm so busy, I have to trust this person to do this thing. And then they blow your mind and they do it better than anybody ever, like you could have ever done it yourself. And you're like, oh, okay, this is really powerful. And then you realize the more you put trust in others and the more you empower them to really bring their own voice and to take things in their own hands, all of a sudden you feel this force of, the current going with you. And you are now a community on a mission to do things. Now, that was kind of like the teenage years of Ruby, I think, where I really feel like, wow, I'm doing something great. And I think there's always lessons to be learned, because then later I think about this a lot in where we are today, as a country, and just, with all of the, it's just really, challenging time today. And I think later, not only did I have to learn to empower and trust, but really listen, and to really, really trust my own confidence that perhaps my own experience or my own perspective isn't the only one. And I think so confidence is also about finding your voice, but it's also about trusting in yourself enough to go, okay, I'm okay with hearing out others who may not agree with me or who may want to do things differently or may have an entirely different experience than the one you intended. And so I think, you know, it's always a journey once you invite others into your community, and it takes confidence, and then you get knocked down and it takes confidence again.
Yeah. Talk about, you know, since we have time, can you talk about how you, when you said, when we talked before, you said you can't make your decisions based on like the 1%, like the bad apples who may do something. You had that policy with respect to getting a gift or something for your customers, and you had that open Amazon account or something. Can you tell that story? Because that was so intensely powerful listening to you when we had prepared for today.
Oh, absolutely. So what I think Kelly is referencing is a program at Ruby where every single employee at Ruby is empowered and has a system to essentially procure and send anything they would like for any customer, anytime, any amount, no questions asked. And it really started from you know, listening to receptionists about how can they feel connected to our mission. And so there are things like that or policies you might empower your staff with that are really generous, and you might be fearful and say, what if somebody breaks the rules? Well, guess what? Somebody will break the rules, but that is the small minority. And I feel as a reckless optimist, I say that there's just, you know, when that happens, you deal with that one thing, but you don't ruin it for the 99%. And I think that whether it's customers you're dealing with or employees or friends or whatever, you protect yourself when you get burned, and that fear of wanting to protect yourself further can really restrict the confidence in others. But accepting that, yes, there will be the one that doesn't, you know, honor the system, but it doesn't mean it's not a good system.
Yeah, that's great, because I think too often we make the rules for, you know, the percentage that, you know, are the bad apples versus everyone else who is like, yeah, I want to do right and all the rest of this. We've got some questions coming in, and I hope Catherine is going to join us. But what were you doing before you started Ruby?
Okay, so before I started Ruby, right before that, I was actually at home with my grade school son, and then he hit middle school, and he didn't like me in his life so much. So that was one of the instigators. But I spent 5 years as a receptionist, as a business broker, and then became a business broker, helping small business owners find, you know, retire, sell their business to the next owner. But actually it was the time spent as a receptionist that I really learned like how important that human connection is and how big of a difference it can make in, you know, the lives of the people you're helping, and that business essentially make a great impression. So
well, given that you have, I want to say, an unusual background to entrepreneurship, how did you apply that when you were recruiting Ruby receptionists? Like, what was what was it you looked for? And if you know, if you could be as specific, like what made the ideal Ruby receptionist?
Yeah. And I just have to say, ironically, I probably would have been fired many times. I was a receptionist, but I was very, I don't know, I didn't show up on time, and I just, anytime someone asked me to do something I thought was beneath me, I would.
You would have so fired your younger self.
So part of me is like, we really have to, make people want to show up, because if they don't believe in what we're doing, why would they? So really the whole Incent, Inspire, Empower thing, it really involves like, we can hire based on people who align with that mission of wanting to perpetuate that human connection. And we can build the training systems, and, our language is all very, it's software that allows the receptions to sound personalized. So we really are about, if making other people's day makes your day, we want to hear from you. Over the years, something like 67% of our new hire receptionists are referrals from other Rubies. So that becomes a really, really important part of attracting the very best that want to align with what it is we're doing.
Well, which is that part of word of mouth referrals when we sort of say with, you know, as I say, you know, writing a book on networking, you know, you want someone, you know, you get job leads because of a word of mouth referral. And sometimes we forget as businesses, it's like, yeah, it's not only someone saying, here's a great candidate, it's them turning to their friends saying, oh my God, I love my job. I love what I do. And someone else saying, oh, I want to be part of that. And we forget it's this two-way dialogue on these referrals.
Oh, absolutely. Hi, Catherine.
Hey, I'm back.
You got more questions?
I have a lot of questions for you,
Oh,
Jill,
good.
popping up on my Zoom chat. People are wondering whether you started Ruby alone, or who was around you, because I believe you don't do anything on your own, right?
Yeah.
And who were really your pillars? Are they partners or people you hired? Tell us about that.
Yeah. So, yes, I was all in before Ruby ever went live. And so just really mulled on an idea for a really long time, and actually got my phone company to help me design how the telephony would go. But I had a friend who was a fellow PTA mom whose son was also in the same grade as my son, and I asked her, and she was looking for some part-time work, and I said, hey, you know, I'm doing this thing, do you want to help me? I paid her $8 an hour is what I could afford to pay her. No, it was 2003, so I think that it was still well above the minimum wage back then. But we sat around her kitchen table, and I remember getting that call from the SBA saying your loan was approved at her house, and she was like, crazy idea, who knows if it'll work, but sure, I'm in. She is still at Ruby today, even after I've retired last September. She remains a big part of the Ruby story. And so, yeah, without Patty McCaffrey Allen, I would not be here. And then we hired 4 employees and got a space and a 3-year contract on a phone system, personally guaranteed. I mean, 100% all in before we even went live on June. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow's our Ruby's 17th birthday.
Wow, happy anniversary, or I don't know how to say that. But it's funny because, you know, Jill, when we listen to you, everything looks pretty simple. You know, it's simple to get along, simple to start a business, and you're very humble because you didn't say it, but this business was like $40 million of revenue, and you had 600 employees, and you've been the most, fastest growing company in Oregon, like 8 years in a row, best place to work. That's huge what you achieved.
Thank you.
And what I keep from all this is that really your capacity to trust the people you're working with, that this confidence is a gift. You received this gift from people, but you gave it to others.
Oh,
and I remember the story that you told me like 8 years ago. You know, it was one of your receptionists that was over the phone it was a lawyer, I believe. And the lawyer was like, oh, I'm going for 2 weeks on holiday sailing, so you'd better take care of everything. I count on you. And the receptionist went, okay, no problem. Then hang up, went to the store and bought a key ring with a little boat on it and put it in an envelope. You remember this story? No?
I actually don't. I remember so many stories. There are hundreds of them. I actually don't remember that one.
And send it to the client saying, you know, enjoy your holidays. Everything's gonna be all right. You can trust me. And I thought that was so unique. And since then, I always try to imagine what very special attention I can have to the people I work with to make them feel I care for them. That's a lesson I learned from you.
Oh, well, you didn't, not for me. It's what others do, and what, and that story actually, that's really an inspiring story. I had not heard that. There are so many more, and they're all, it's me who's inspired by.
But when I was saying to people in France, that company Ruby, the CEO say, here's the money, you can buy to customers anything you want, no limit. They were like, what? But they're gonna, and they were surprised, but nobody ever bought a Ferrari or something so expensive, right? So this empowerment, people become like very responsible to. It's really
really, I would say really vested in the success and vested in and honoring what Jill started. And it's such a beautiful story. And you just see the win-win all around, where an employee would say how much they love working for the company, so they'd want to recruit their friends. The client who receives, a silly little tchotchke like a keychain says, right, oh my God, this is the greatest. And it's going to tell all of his or her friends, you got to come and this is a service I use. They're amazing. Why are they amazing? Well, yeah, they do a great job, but they care about me. They send a keychain, right? Like it's just such an amazing story. So good. So good.
Kelly, maybe I have a question for you too, while I'm with you now.
Ask Kelly a question.
I was thinking, now it's been like 2 or 3 months, we are at home. Everyone is like connecting to others through the screen. And I was wondering whether this is, what impact it has on our confidence. Is it something that is, accelerating? Is it good, to build your confidence? Or is it something where you have to struggle more? What do you say that this period would?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. I mean, this is a time to, I think, to put our old ideas, aside. And this is a time for either personal reflection and personal action without the glare in some ways of, I would say, incidents and networking opportunities that can zap our confidence, because we watch and see what other people are doing, and that can sometimes diminish how we feel. And I think right now is a time for our own personal decisions and our own personal choices on what actions we're going to take, and then reflect and get into action when it's right for you. So I think depending on how you reflect right now, it can either be a zapper of your confidence, or you can say, right, the rules are being rewritten. I'm going to be part of rewriting my own rules, and that can be a confidence boost.
Excellent. And now but we just have 2 minutes more, but I'm going to cry. But
don't do that, because we're going to cry.
Both of you talking about confidence and overcoming challenges or fear. Can you just, the both of you, tell us about something difficult that you have to overcome and in business, and how you did it?
I mean, I think when I think about my own sort of journey of confidence, it was finally waking up and realizing that other people were seeing a bigger picture of me than I ever saw of myself. And so if someone is struggling with that,
what does it mean exactly?
Yeah, like put the blinders on in terms of comparing yourself or where your career or your venture or your ideas should be. You are where you are supposed to be. So put those blinders on, and then look around and say, right, who believes in me? And listen to that one. It might be one voice, it might be 10 voices. Listen to those people, because you probably do have a mentor or a friend, or if you're lucky, a Catherine in your life who believes in you. And listen to that one voice and pursue what you're going to pursue.
Nice message. Thank you. You, Jill, just to finish with Yeah,
I mean, it's interesting, since we met so many years ago, I feel like I've gone on yet another journey of, doubting confidence and then regaining confidence. But, in the last years at Ruby, I really had to go through yet a whole nother journey of empowerment. It was one thing to empower frontline and direct management staff, but to really give up even strategic direction and influence as I got to hire an incredibly talented senior executive team as we grew, and had to learn some really tough lessons that I was not showing up for them the way that they needed me to. And I had to really reflect on my own leadership style. And so I had to go through yet another sort of journey of learning and empowerment. And today, I feel like confidence is both having that voice to speak up and to say the things that I need to say, but also having the confidence to go, I am confident enough in myself that I can listen to a different perspective, and I can also accept that somebody else's experience, even if it may feel very different from the same experience that, you know, in the same moment that I had, is also legitimate. And so today I used to be so afraid of employee surveys, like I didn't want to be hurt. And now, like, my sort of confidence journey is more around listening than it is around speaking up, I think.
Well, so thank you for speaking today then.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for sharing. You know, it's funny because the two talks we had this morning here where the both of you, Miriam Merad and you talk about your mother. And so I realized my responsibility as a mother.
Yeah, no pressure.
You know, that's, so I think of my own mother. Hello, Mom. But I realized that if there is one thing on earth I want to transmit her, is really this: it's believe in yourself, pursue your dreams, and whatever happens, I will always love you.
Yep.
And be here for you. Thank you, ladies.
Everyone
Thank you,
be
everyone,
kind to
for watching
themselves.
this session in confidence.
Thank
It was
you
great
for
having you. And so maybe you can join tomorrow at 11:30. Tomorrow we're going to have a full day dedicated to investment, female founders and funders. Jill, you also could have been on this day. So challenging fundraising. And so one session at 11:30, the other at 12:30 p.m. New York time. And I'll be very happy to see you tomorrow. Thank you again, Kelly. Thank you, Jill. Thank you all.
Thank you.
And see you tomorrow at Win Forum 2020. Bye.
Bye. Thank you all.